Good morning, Year 2. Welcome to Maths Today. We are going to be carrying on with measurement very soon. But first, a bit of a change of plan. I thought we'd play a bit of a game all to do with estimating. Now, you might be sitting at home thinking, what's estimating? Well, estimating is a bit like guessing, except guessing is just random. You don't really think too much when you're guessing. Estimating is when you use what you already know to make a sensible guess. For example, where you can't see, just down here, where my camera cuts off, I'm going to hold up my hand with some fingers on it. Just one hand with some fingers on it, and I'd like you to estimate how many fingers I'm holding up. The reason I say estimate is because you can use what you already know. You know I've got 5 fingers. You know that I'm only using one hand. So the guess of 10 wouldn't be very sensible because I can't hold up 10. You're using what you know. So have an estimate now. Estimate how many fingers I might be holding up. I mean, it needs to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And it was 4. Now, were you right or not? Doesn't matter. We're going to go again. Estimate how many fingers. I won't do the same number. Oh, so now you've got more information. What do you think? Were you right this time? Okay, what if I use 2 hands? What if I use 2 hands? It's a bit trickier, but you still know it's not going to be 30 or 47 or 122 because I only have 10 fingers. Okay, estimate now. Right. Does your estimate change if I show you this hand has got 4? I'm still not showing you this one. Do you want to change your estimate? Seven. I was holding up 7. Did you change your estimate when you saw that this had 4? Because that's quite a lot. I mean, if you'd said 10 and I showed you this 4, you definitely need to change your estimate. It can't be 10 anymore because I don't have 5 on this hand. Let's have another go at that where I'll do it with 2 hands. I'll show you one and you can change your estimate. Okay, you ready? Think of that number, estimate between 0 and 10. Right. Here's this hand. Do you need to change your estimate? Did you pick a big number? And now that I've shown you this, you probably need to change it. Because it can't be 9 anymore. It can't be 8 anymore. Because even if I've got 5 on this hand, the biggest number I can make now is 6. Okay, ready? Altogether 3. Was that your estimate? Were you close? The thing about estimating is you aren't ever really sure if you're completely right or not. You can be close. You can be a long way away if you haven't used all of the information that's available. But estimating isn't about being right or wrong. It's about being close, thinking of something that could be sensible. Let's do a couple more estimates on how many fingers I'm holding up. Are you ready? Make your estimate now. What if I show you this? Do you need to change your estimate? Because now it's definitely going to be 5 or more. If you had a number smaller than 5, you need to change your estimate. 7. Did you estimate 7? If you did, well done. But even if you said 8, you were close. Even if you said 6, you were close. Those are sensible estimates. Using the information that you already had, it was a sensible idea. One more go, and then we'll look at how we can use this in real life. Are you ready? Okay, make your estimate now. Ooh, now that changes quite a lot, doesn't it? Because now the biggest number it could be is 5. So if your estimate was 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10, you need to change that now. Was your estimate sensible? Were you close? Or did you say something like 7, even when you saw this was 0? Because I don't have 7 fingers on this hand. It's impossible. It can't be that. Using what you know, it had to be 5 or fewer. Let's have a look at how we can use this in maths. On the board, I'm going to show some number lines. Here's a number line, and this one is really, really easy because it's beautifully labelled with some lines. Sure, these lines don't have numbers on, but we've got some key information. We've got 0, and we've got 5, and we know the numbers that go in between. Does it go up in ones? Let's check. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what number does the arrow point to? Yeah, it does. It points to number 4. We know that because these lines are here. And if we really wanted to, we could label to show that. And we've got nice, clear, even jumps on our number line. The trouble is, it's not always like that. On some number lines that you'll see out and about in the real world, in the kitchen, on your scales, on some number lines, you don't have these handy lines showing you where all of the numbers are. You don't have those intervals because maybe it doesn't want to be too squash, or maybe they think you can estimate. And that's what we're going to do just now. We're going to estimate. This one should be quite easy. What number do you think this is pointing to? And here's where we use what we know. We know it's closer to 5 than 0. If we picture splitting this up into 5 equal parts, using our knowledge of fractions, which one would it be pointing to? 1, 2, 3, or 4? And using that information, we can safely say this is probably pointing at 4. It might be close to 4. It might not be exactly 4, but a sensible estimate would be 4. 1 would not be a sensible estimate. 1 would probably be somewhere around here, much closer to 0 than 5. So we're going to use what we know to estimate where this green arrow is pointing. Let's look at another one. Ooh, funny that. What do you think? Estimate. Maybe split this in your head, split this into 5 sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do you think? Yeah, I think my estimate would be 1. If you said 1, I think that's a sensible estimate. If you said 2, 2's nearly halfway. I think 2 would have to be a bit further over. So 2, not close enough, I'm afraid. If you said 3, definitely not close enough. I think a sensible estimate would be 1. Okay, ready for the next one. Make sure you are having a go at home. Remember, estimating is not about being right or wrong. It's about getting close. So when I show the next one, I want you to say or think what number you believe that arrow is pointing to. What do you think? I mean, you can use what you know and think back to when we did have those lines. Or you can picture drawing those lines in your head. Has it gone over halfway? You can split it in half, maybe use that information to help you. What do you think? My estimate for this one would be 2. If I imagine in my head, I mean, I can draw on this board, but you're not allowed to draw on scales if you're weighing something at the supermarket. But if I was to split it in my head, I could 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I've split it in my head and I can see actually, yeah, 2 is a sensible estimate. Let's look at another one together. What do you think? It's not quite right next to number 5, is it? Estimate. What do you think? Yeah, I think 3 is a very sensible estimate. Using the information we've got, it's more than half. It's not quite right next to 5. If we picture in our head splitting this up, I think 3 is a sensible estimate. Oh, and now the scale has changed. We're now looking 5 all the way to 10. So there's only some numbers in between these. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Only numbers that we can fit on here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What do you think this is? It's exactly the same thing. You know, imagine splitting it in your head. Estimate? Yeah, 6 I think is a sensible estimate. If you said 6 at home, I think you're probably very, very close. If you said 7, if we split it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 7 is just a bit further over. It's closer to halfway between. Let's look at the next one. Right, so it's more than halfway between 5 and 10. We could count backwards, maybe split it going backwards, see if that helps us. What do you think? No, I'm not sure about if you're thinking 7. 7's about here. Estimate, what do you think? I mean, I'd probably, if you're saying 8, I think 8, I'd probably agree. We can think, well, 9 would be about here, and 10's there. I think that would be a sensible estimate. So if you said 8, I agree. Now, I've put a larger gap with smaller intervals. It goes from 0 all the way up to 10 now, which is useful because now we know the number that's right in the middle. The number that's right in the middle is 5. 0 to 10, the number that's right in the middle is 5, because 5 is half of 10. These lines are going to disappear, but have a look at them now, so you can use that information to estimate in a minute. We've got more information because we know right in the middle is definitely 5. We can use that to help us. We can think about, if it's right in the middle, it's 5. If it's this side, it's more than 5. And if it's this side, it's less than 5. Let's have a look. As these lines disappear, we know right in the middle. What number is this? 5. Okay, let's use that information to help us out. What number do you think this is pointing to? See, it's a bit trickier. Imagine those lines there. We'll think about where 5 is, and think about fitting the other numbers in as well. So 5 is right in the middle, about here-ish. Maybe a bit that way. What number do you think? I think 9. It's close to 10. This 5 is in the middle. We can picture in our head 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10 on the end. You don't have the luxury of being able to draw it. You have to picture those things in your head. So it's a bit like guessing, but we do have lots of information. We know that 5 is in the middle. So we know our spaces, ish, roughly, approximately. So we can estimate. 9. What about now? Think about where 5 is, between 0 and 10. Think about where 5 is. What do you think? My estimate would be 3. If you said 4, you're not wrong, because we don't know. We can't find out. There are no answers. If you said 2, you're not wrong, because we can't find out. We are just estimating. My estimate would be 3. So for the next few, and it will get a bit trickier, don't worry about right or wrong. I'll tell you my estimate. We'll see if you agree with me. What do you think here? Look really carefully and think, what do I know about the middle? What's your estimate? My estimate is 6. Do you agree with me? It's more than half, it's more than 5, but not by much. It's pretty close to being halfway. Now look carefully, it goes from 10 to 20. So we've got 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 at the end. What's halfway between 10 and 20? 15 is our middle number this time, and we can use that to help us. If this green arrow moves across slightly, we know it's probably 16. If it moves back, it's probably 14. And there are all the other numbers to think about as well. Are you ready for your estimating? What do you think? Tricky, I know. My estimate, if I look at it, I think, where's 15? I would estimate this to be 12. Do you agree with me? I could understand if you said 11, but if you said 11 and that was one jump, you've got to fit 9 more jumps in before you get up to 20 of all the same size. And I can't do that when it looks like this. So think carefully about the size of those gaps. That's why my estimate is 12. How about now then? What do you think? What is your estimate? It's nearly 20, isn't it? Pretty close. That's why my estimate is 19. Was that the same as your estimate? If you said 18, okay, you're not far away, you're pretty close. It is a sensible estimate. If you said 45, that is not a sensible estimate, because we have to use the information that we've got. Have a really close look. Decide where you think this is pointing, which number. My estimate is because I don't think it's right smack on the 15. I don't think it's right on halfway. So for that reason, I think it's 14. That's my estimate. Was that the same as yours? Think about halfway. Think about where 15 is. Halfway between 10 and 20. We know 15. So what do you think? My estimate will be 16. It's pretty close to that midpoint, pretty close to halfway. That's why I think 16. If you said 17, you're not wrong. I think that's still pretty close. It's a sensible estimate. If you said 19, I don't think you've used all of the information. 16, I think, is my estimate. Well, we can use that halfway idea, can't we? We can find halfway. And we know that that's 15. So we have to be able to put 5 jumps in. 10 to 15. My estimate for this one, 13. What's your estimate? Was it the same as mine? Maybe you said 14, maybe you said 12. You're not very far away. It's a sensible estimate. If you said 17, you're the wrong side of the tracks. You've got to think about all of the information you can work out. Use that to make a sensible estimate. We've changed these. So now we're thinking halfway between 20 and 30. My estimate is 25. I'm really confident about this estimate because it looks like it's smack in the middle. And because it's right in the middle, I can say confidently, I think this is 25. I can't know for certain because I don't have all the little lines on there. But I can say confidently, I think it's 25 because it's right in between 20 and 30. What's your estimate for this one? It's quite easy when it's close to one of these little lines, isn't it? It's quite easy and straightforward. I think I agree. 21. It's close enough to 20 for me to say confidently, I think that's 21. Or well, if I had an estimate that this one was 21, what's this one? See, we're using what we know to make our estimate even more sensible. I agree, I think 22. If you said 22, I think that's a really sensible estimate. Bit trickier. Count backwards if you need to, because it's quite close to 30, but not right next to it. What do you think? My estimate, 28. How about yours? Is that the same? I think that's a sensible estimate. We can fit 29 in there with a nice same size jumps. I think that's a sensible estimate. Think about that halfway, 25. What number do you think this is pointing to? What do you think? Yeah, do you know, I think I agree. I think 24. I think that's a really sensible estimate. Our halfway point is about here. It's pretty close to what we know is 25. This shows 24. I think that's a really sensible estimate. Well done. A bit trickier, because our halfway point was here. But remember, it's not about right and wrong. It's about something sensible. So for this, if you said 23, I think that's a sensible estimate. If you said 24, I think that's a sensible estimate too, because it's pretty close. It's impossible to say, yes, definitely right. If you said 23 or 24, I think that's sensible. Watch the tens of change. So now we're looking at 30 and 40. The number smack in the middle, this time, is 35. Oh, sorry about the board. Doesn't like that strip for some reason. 35. So use that information to help you. If you know that smack in the middle, right in between, halfway between 30 and 40 is 35, what does the green arrow show? My estimate would be 34. Is that what you were thinking? If it was, excellent. If you said 33, you're still pretty close. Even on this one, if you said 35, because you thought it was halfway, I think that's still quite a sensible estimate. What do you think? What's your estimate for this one? My estimate? I think two numbers. I'm stuck between 38 and 39. I'm going to say 39. I think it's pretty sensible. It's quite close to 40. It's way past halfway. I think 38 or 39, somewhere around there. I've gone with 39. That's my estimate. How about this time? Yeah, I don't think 31. Maybe, but I don't think I can get 10 jumps this big in this gap. So using what I know, my estimate's going to be 32 for this one. Is that what you thought? If you thought 32, I think that's a sensible estimate. I need to have a good close look at this. Is that right in the middle? Is it really close to the middle? It's tough, isn't it? But I'm just going to make a sensible estimate. I'm going to say, I think that's 35. I'm going to be confident in my guess, in my estimate, because it looks like it's between 30 and 40. Watch, tens have changed. What do you think for this one? The middle number would be 55. Is this right in the middle? I don't think it's right in the middle. I think the middle is about here. So I'm going to use that information. If I know that this is 55, I'm going to make my estimate 54. 56 would not be a sensible estimate, because 56 would be over on this side of the halfway point? Not many left. What do you think? Now, some people might look at this and think, oh, well, it's less than 60, so 59. Is that a sensible estimate? 59? No! How close it is to 50? We've got to fit 10 jumps in between 50 and 60. What do you think? My estimate, 51. Now, it's not right next to 60. It's pretty close. Use that information to make your estimate. What do you think? Yeah. I think... Oh, dodgy board again. I think 58. That's my estimate. Do you know if you said 59? Yeah, you're around the right area. 57, again, not too bad. Pretty sensible. 58, I think, is the most sensible estimate. This is why we need this skill. Because at home, or in some supermarkets, or on your petrol tank in your car, or on the speedo in your car, like the speedometer that tells you how fast you're going, you will get scales like this. They won't all have kilograms. It doesn't measure how fast your car is going. If we think about weight, we stand on scales. Not everything is labelled, because it would all be very, very squashed. And so they might only put some numbers on there. And you have to be able to estimate using what you know. So if we think about this one, we know that halfway between 10 and 20 is 15. Halfway between 20 and 30 is 25. We're going to use this skill for these questions. There are 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See? But you need your maths book. So go and get your maths book if you haven't got it already. Go and get a pencil and be ready to write A, B, C, D, and then your estimate for each one. We're going to do more of this tomorrow, so if you're finding it super hard, don't worry. If you're ready, you can pause the video and have a go at A, then B, then C, and then D. Use what you already know. Think carefully. Maybe turn your head as well, because if it's on a bit of a curve, you can turn your head to look at the screen. Write the measurements that are shown. Pause the video now, because I'm going to move on to the next page. E, F, G, and H. Use what you know to estimate. Don't worry about measuring or putting in all the lines. Use the information that's here. Once you've finished E, F, G, and H, send me a photo of your estimates on Class Dojo, and you are done with maths for the day. There will be more estimating tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. That's the end for maths. Send me those photos now, and I look forward to seeing your estimates. Bye.